All right, finally back. It's been a while since I've posted anything, but that's because I've been fully immersed in several projects, working through the Hula Bowl, Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl data, getting that all compiled, working through it. But as we gather more information, I've been refining my breakdowns on specific players and position groups. I think it's more important to focus in on where's the strength really in this 2025 NFL draft. A lot of people will say it's not a deep draft, which I can agree with to a certain extent. I think a lot of people usually use the word or the term it's not deep, meaning it's not very valuable, more than is it actually like a decent amount of players that can make it onto a roster and ultimately make it on the field under their rookie contract and maybe actually develop into a starter. I think that's true about this class, is that quarterback, corner, wide receiver, offensive tackles, those are not really strong at the high end. First round blue chip talent, so it's not a very valuable draft. Now, edge is in there, which is considered a high value for draft picks. You should be able to get those guys day one all the way through UDFA. However, there's also a few other positions that are loaded as well, but they're less valued in the draft. So like running back, tight end's pretty good this year. D tackles, D line in general, but D tackles is specifically pretty deep. Regardless of the alignment, you can find just about anybody. Linebackers are not ultra deep, but it's there. There's guys there. You're going to find guys on day three that could probably at least make the roster and get some playing time. Like I said, safeties is good. Corners are not that bad. Tackles are, although again at the high end, is not great, but you should be able to get some decent players even on day three that might be developmental, but worthy of a draft pick. And the same can be said about wide receivers. I think there's a decent amount of quarterbacks that could be taken on day two and day three that could be a little bit developmental or at least push their starters this year. So it's about, I guess you would say, it's rosterable. There's a lot of depth in terms of you can still get to day three and you're just not randomly picking players, which is what kind of seemed what happened last year for the Patriots. But the more I dig in, the more I realize that if the Patriots really are not happy with what they got at the fourth pick, I think the real sweet spot in this draft doesn't necessarily lie in that top five. Instead, it starts toward the end of the first round and extends well into the third, where the depth of the talent and positional value align perfectly with what the team really needs. Let me be clear, though. I have to point this out. I am all in on Abdul Carter. I've pointed him out back in April, literally last year. He was my guy. That was when I thought he was going to be just a linebacker. I'm like, this guy should be the linebacker that they get, the defensive guy. And then now when he did the edge rush, now they switched to edge rusher and spring ball, all in. And if they get him, that would be the third year in a row that the one guy I thought the Patriots definitely needed to get in the draft, they would get. But who knows? It's sounding like Abdul is probably going to be off the board by 4. Because his explosiveness, versatility, and ability to impact all 3 downs make him a potential game changer on defense. Every team would love to have Abdul on their team. It's just the reality. But beyond Carter, there's still other guys at the top. I've obviously pointed them out. I would strongly consider in that range too. You got Travis Hunter, Will Campbell, Tet McMillan, Kelvin Banks, James Pierce, and Mason Graham. All those guys could help the Patriots out. Obviously, you can have your own, views on each one, which one would be optimum. But honestly, those guys are all worthy of the 4th overall pick, in my opinion. Especially when you consider the rest of the first round, right? So a lot of people say that guy wouldn't be this guy in this draft, and that guy wouldn't be, he wouldn't be here or whatever. You have to talk about now. You have to talk about this draft. You're drafting in this draft. You can't just stomp your feet and whine about not having several guys that are worthy of the 4th overall pick, and you can, no matter what, you're good. No, this reality of it. This draft is not really great. Probably outside the top 10 for a while. But if the board doesn't break down in their favor, they need to seriously consider moving back into the late teens or even early 20s. Again, I'll say this draft class is actually kind of deep, and the strength of this draft is in that 20 to 60 range, where they can secure valuable impact players without overpaying at the top. To put it in perspective, I've identified, say, 7 players in that 11 to 20 range, but there's 16 guys I would take in that 21 to 32 range. And on top of that, there's 26 players I would consider in the 33 to 50. So I have more guys that would be willing to take kind of in that 20 to 50, 60 range than there are picks. So those guys I think would bring high upside talent to the Patriots roster. And if you want to talk about valuation of where they are in terms of their composite grades versus where they could be drafted, it's strong. It matches up. It would be a good valuation. The number of quality options in that late first to the mid-third round reinforces the idea that the Patriots would benefit from trading back if they don't see their ideal player at the number 4 spot and they have to negotiate, and if they can't really find a trade partner inside the top 10. Now, potential targets by the draft range. If you move back slightly, say within the top 20, I wouldn't mind guys like Will Johnson if he's still there, or Michael Williams, or Tyler Warren, Shamar Stewart, Walter Nolan, Matthew Golden, or Emeka Egbuka. If those guys are, if you trade back and say you're in that 11 to 20, which I think is kind of a little bit of a dead spot, but if you move back, but if you got some decent return on it, I wouldn't mind those guys there. Those guys would be impact players at positions of need. But again, moving back to that 21 to 32, I got 16 players for 11 spots, right? So if the Patriots can move back to that late first, that's where a bunch of other good players that might have rolled down, plus there's the guys above that still might be there too. A lot of guys who are really talented but are not in high value positions, like Ginty, Starks, Jalen Walker I would consider there, Kenneth Grant, Skirton would be a great one, Benjamin Morrison, J.D. Barron, Nick Manwari, Jihad Campbell, obviously that's where Donovan Jackson as an offensive lineman, tackle, or guard. Ursary would be in that range. Booker would be in that range probably. If not, no, he might be taken earlier, but that would be a spot where I consider it. Tyleik Williams, Derek Harmon would also be in there for D tackles. Anybody else? Armand Membo, late first. Same thing with Cam Williams in the late first if they really liked him. Landon Jackson would be another guy that I would consider in that late first round if they really like him. Those guys stand out as potential fits. This tier is where the depth and the high upside development players start becoming real options, right? But if you move on to the 33 to 50, again, I have more players that would be willing to take in that range than picks, right? So I have like 26 guys. That's where guys like Josh Simmons, Josh Connerly can really come into play, that early second round pick, or maybe moving up out of the third into a late second. Josh Simmons with the knee, I'm a little bit off on that, not because he had the injury, but the underlying cause of it. Typically, patella injuries are either from wear and tear and inflammation and just essentially always dealing with some knee injury, or just an acute injury from stresses. However, the acute injuries often have an underlying cause. And in this case, it looks like he might be one of those guys who have like that 1.2 femur tibia ratio, which meaning like his femur is about 20% longer than his tibia, which puts an excessive amount of shear forces on the patella. And not only is it like, hey, you're going to potentially pop this thing and have just catastrophic knee injuries in the first place, but you're talking also long-term. He's always going to be dealing with it. There's nothing you can do about the fact that your femur is longer, just that your femur is substantially longer than your shin. So that's an issue. Josh Connerly, I've been talking about that. The guy's got some of the best technique grades and movement grades in the draft. He's better than a lot of guys even last year. He's a great athlete. He's got good instinct, good technique. He's got some of the best anchor reaction times I've seen. But the sad part is he can anchor quickly and be all set to go, but the way his muscle insertions, calves, and all that stuff, it's just not a guy who's really built to transfer his power into the ground. So his anchor, although ready, is not sufficient. Doesn't grab enough, and he gets bulldozed. Now, we saw the Mike Green situation. That's not going to obviously happen often or at all, really, in obviously in a real game. But that's a great example where Josh was ready to go, and he timed it actually pretty well, but Mike just had no momentum and just ran him over. So that's something I've been pointing out, that's an issue. And it's something that, hey, if you're going to be doing gap in your face, trying to forklift guys out of the way, Josh Connolly has some issues on that side. Even if you chained him to a squat rack and strapped a feed bag to him, like, I don't know if he's putting that much weight on the lower end. Much more probably for that, outside zone or just zone schemes in general. I doubt he's going to make it really to the second round, because I'm sure one of those playoff teams that runs that sort of scheme is going to pick him up, because when he's in that sort of play, he's masterful. But I'm not sure for the Patriots. Now, sorry. Moving on. Anyway, let's talk about Mike Green. Mike Green's an interesting guy. I think someone will pick him up towards the end of the first round, because he's so niche in the way he plays that he's going to cause some sort of mismatch at some point. So he'll be a good weapon on defense. Maybe not where the Patriots want, where they need a little bit more of a comprehensive player. But then again, if they feel like he's a good value at some point in that second round, either taking it with their own second or maybe something they picked up at a trade back or a trade up situation, wouldn't hate it. Now, in terms of comprehensive guys, you got Jack Sawyer. I think he's a great example of being a comprehensive edge player. Okay with their pass rush, solid in terms of setting edge, good on the run, high motor, intangibles through the roof. Another guy that's kind of interesting would be Princely Umanmilayan. He's obviously a very specific edge rusher. Not big on him, but again, some people think that he could be a first rounder. Once you get him out of that first round, the valuation starts to favor possibly taking him if you went offensive line, but you're still looking for a speedy edge rusher. Same thing with JT. He's a good guy to pick up there too. Trey Amos is a good one. Jonah Savania, he's interesting. His length checked out for him to play some tackle, but he plays great as a guard. Wouldn't mind going after him at some point in the second round. Trey Harris, Maxwell Hairston, if he actually makes it to the second round. Luther Burden, I'm not big on him. I think some of the antics and lack of consistency and effort is a major red flag in terms of his personality. But again, he's a first round talent in terms of how he moves and his profile, but maybe take a chance on him if he's still there in the second. Same with Colston Loveland. He just doesn't match up for me right now for the Patriots. I know a lot of people think highly of him. I do too, but it's just I can't take him in the first. TJ Sanders is a solid guy for D tackle. Watts is good. Kyle Kennard in corners. Darian Porter is a good corner. I really like him. D tackles. Jordan Birch. Donovan is actually pretty good too. Who else am I thinking of? Deion Walker, I would take him at some point in the second round. Siobhan Ravel, he's another guy that did an injury. Xavier Restrepo. Harold Fandon would be another one. Wyatt Milam. Amari Hampton. Gray Zabel. Isaiah Bond. He was probably a first rounder until his ankle injury. Now, these guys that I just named in the 33 to 50, they're the type of players who could develop into long-term contributors. And some of them are guys who just kind of lost a little bit of value in their draft stock, either from injury or just a bad stretch or one bad year compared to their previous year. So the Patriots can maximize their value by securing multiple selections in that range. I think the numbers really do speak for themselves here. While there aren't a lot of elite talents at the very, very top, the real depth of the class, again, is in that 20 to 60 range. So again, if they can't get Abdul Carter and they just don't have a high conviction at other guys, or they can't find a trade partner in that top 10 where they would kind of chance missing out on one of those guys, it's arguable the best course of action could be by trading down into the late teens or again the early 20s, and by doing so allowing them to still land a high impact player, possibly multiple ones, and also picking up additional picks even in 2026. Now, a lot of people say you stay there no matter what, you just take one of those blue chip players, which again, I'm all for. But I'm also pointing out it's not just that. You have other options. And if you were going to think about something else, I believe that 20 to 60 range is where you want to either be trading back into or adding extra picks, or possibly burning some current and future draft capital to be picking in that range. That's where you can get players that you need and where the value for those players would be appropriate. A lot of people are like, well, we just need really, really, really good players and that's just it. Well, not really, guys. This team isn't just one player away. They need multiple impact contributors, and you need as much ammo as you possibly can. to be hitting those guys. So, all right, so let's finally get in. Let's finally break down why moving back could be the best option. Let's take a look. All right, let's try. So first one, we're going to try... Well, obviously if Abdul's there, we'll do the Abdul, right? Just to see what that... We know we've done that a million times. So we'll just do it one more time for this reason. Let's see what... I haven't done anything in a while with this simulator. See what we get at like 38 and 69. Maybe tackle or wide receiver. Holy crap, Scourgeon's still there. I'm going to go Ursary. And then I'm going to take a look at either a wide receiver, another tackle, or D-tackle as well. Trey Amos, wow. Is Hairston still there? No, he's gone, so I'm going to have to take... Alright, so I'll take that. Wide receiver here, or another tackle. Oh, unfortunately, it looks like... So I'm going to go with Holland Pearson. He's at 170, so I'll take a look and see how the tackles are going, because I can take Jack Nelson or Holland Pierce. All these guys are actually worthy of being considered for a right tackle at like 105 or 144, or 105 or 145. Now, D-tackle is one we need to keep an eye on. Jordan Birch can play some defensive end and on the inside. Ty Robinson's also an option. 77. This one's an interesting one here. We got the corner. I'd really like to get Xavier Watts, but I'm kind of getting... What is with this massive... Oh, no. Wide receivers. Let's take a look. Oh, Jane Higgins is still there. Let's see. Gadsden at 145 could be an option, too. 105. Oh, my gosh. The size of these... Xavier Watts is tempting here, guys. But I think we have to think either Jordan Birch Demetrius Knight too. I like him. Jordan Phillips is... I mean, I like... All three of these are solid at 105. I doubt they'll make it, though. Jaden Higgins or Jack Betch or Strepo, obviously huge on. I'm going to go with Jaden Higgins because it's probably the smart move here. Because you just need one of those guys who can move, who's got that size. Might not be an all-star for you, but at least he's got some skills. Oh, Jordan Birch. Okay. This is a good draft. What? Okay, we know it. You got awesome stuff. Maybe we'll consider it next time. Holy cow. Alright, so another tackle. We need, Ty Robinson there. That's tempting too. Lander Barton, Ty Robinson, Rondé Gadsden. Take a look at OTs. Holland Pierce. I doubt he makes the 219. Sebastian Castro, he's solid. Wow, Tommy Hill, they boosted him up a lot. He'll test out really great at the Combine or his Pro Day, though. Tight ends, I'm going to get a little concerned about. Yeah. I think I might go Gadsden here. Love that guy. now we'll go probably seeing an offensive tackle, or what do we got? Offensive tackle, we need a running back, we need a linebacker. Cody Lindenberg. I just saw him, he's still up. Come on, Cody, make it. Come on, Cody, make it. Alright. Let's take a look at OTs. I'll go John Williams towards the end there. This is a great draft. Interior offensive lineman. Clay Webb is still on the board. Mike Lampkin's on the board. Okay, so we can push that off to 240, I think. Running back. Safety. Safeties are... Kenny Gallup, take a shot at Kenny Gallup. Hunter Wohlers is a solid guy to go after, too. Kenyatta Watson, if he's in here. Craig Woodson's pretty good, too. So all those guys may be down here if they're still around. If not, UDFA. Running back might be where I need to take a look here. Raheem Sanders. Marcus Yarns is solid, too. Donovan Edwards. Jaden Blue, which I need to figure out what happened with him. I don't know if he got injured or not. Jalen White is actually, I know it's 696, but like that guy is worthy of at least getting an invite, possibly UDFA. Marcus Yarns I'd probably take out of, Raheem Rocket Sanders, Manon guys, solid too. Taj Brooks, all guys I thought that should have came out last year, but they didn't. I might have to go there. All right, let's do a check-in on offensive tackles. John Williams is probably my top guy here. He can play both left and right. Xavier Truss plays some guard and tackle. Jalen Travis is a monster. Trey Whittig actually did pretty good at the Shrine Bowl. Anybody else in here that's worthy of talking about? Yeah. Even Miles Hilton's a former 5-star. He's in the same Trey Zune. These guys are all former 5-star recruit. Oh. Trey, I have to take a look. Miles, I know, is a 5-star. Pick him up. Developmental right tackles. John Williams, I think, probably has the cleanest tape. Caleb Rogers plays just about every position on the offensive line. Same. Josh Gray plays both inside and outside. More zone dude, but... Sorry that I'm taking forever. This is getting a little difficult. Let's go with the running back. Let's take Rocket. Rocket Sanders. Bigger back. 6'3", 230-ish. Let's see if John Williams is around. Yeah, he is. Okay. Logan Brown is actually, I think, was a 4-star recruit. Interior offensive line. Oh. Clay Webb's gone. Shoot. Clay Webb was a 5-star center recruit. I'm going to go with John Williams. A D? Forget you. Alright, that's a good one. But that unfortunately wasn't a great exercise in what we were trying to do, which is what happens if someone actually asks, I want that 4th pick. So if no one gives us an offer, we're gonna, I guess we'll do the offering. Oh my gosh, this is probably gonna be the last time I do this simulator. I'll take a look at PFF tonight and see. Ooh, that's really tempting. Okay, let's see what happens there. Can we still get... okay. We're going to make believe that Abdul is not there. We'll do the Will Campbell route. So, it's not that I'm picking him over him. It's just that we're going to... that's absurd. Alright, we'll just do that. So, picking up a 37, though, let's see what happens. Well, we can get both. This is great. Here's the big question. Do we go a Mika? Or I say Mika, Mecca? I think I have to go with Skarton by getting a Mecca or Matthew Golden. Let's take a look. Hold on. Let me just make sure that I'm not missing. Let's take a look at D-line. Alright, so Sanders. Okay, so that chewed up pretty quickly. OT. Do I take Ursary right now? I think so. I mean, I literally have the next two, but it doesn't really matter. So let's just do Ibuka. I know I am a big Matthew Golden fan, but Ibuka to me is probably the more, I would say, the safer pick. Not getting Skarton is very tempting, though. I mean, is a problem. I mean, Ursary and Skirt. Let's take a look at Edge, because if I can justify skipping and getting him at somebody at 69, like Josiah Stewart, if Landon Jackson or Stewart or Kennard are still at 69, I'm good. Jared Ivey I have to do a little more homework on. Ursary, I think, is the pick here, or Donovan Jackson, either one. Hairston, Trey Amos still there. Thank you. All right. Shamar Turner at 77. Okay, so we got Edge really killed us. So let's take a look at D-line. Linebackers. Gelati at 105. I'm not huge on David Walker. We can go with Baron Sorrell a little bit later on. Oh, and they have David Bailey still in the system, right? RG Orbeck. So there's some guys down here that can be. This guy's actually pretty good too. Jared Ivey, I have to. He's good. I just gotta figure out. I'm not big on both the LSU edge rushers. They just seem to take like lots of snaps off. D-line. So I think I have to go with Turner here. Jeez, Harrison's still in play. Oh my gosh. Jackson, go with Harold Bannon, go with that. Demetrius Knight's a psychopath. In a good way. I'm gonna hold off there. Let's see. Elijah Roberts, he's pretty good. Ahmed can play some edge. I mean, there's definitely guys who can help us out with the edge in terms of creating pressure. Cody Simon would be one too later on. Shamar James is pretty good too. Hold off. Yeah, I'm gonna hold off on the edge again. You might be thinking I'm nuts, but that's just didn't want to leave with getting out without getting some needle movers. And we lost it, essentially. Once Trey Amos would probably be where, looking at what happened, ultimately, I mean, Harrison was still available at 77. I probably should have held off, but I really like Trey Amos as a player, so. Safety, interior offensive lineman. See how that's coming up. He had a great Senior Bowl. Pat Bryant at 145. Holy cow, I gotta get rid of me, and this is it. I'm done with this one. You can't put a advertisement that takes up half the screen, guys. You just can't. I like him, I just don't know if his athleticism is gonna, like, essentially justify getting him here. Barron, I don't know. Not really, I've never, like, he's got something, but it's, I don't know. I don't know if he's, not here. Let's take a look at wide receiver one more time. Pat Bryant. Oh, Holland Pierce is still in play. Jeez. Alright, so I'm going to probably go with Sebastian here. Play some safety, can play some nickel. Not the greatest athlete, but really instinctive. Holland Pierce somehow still in play. Alright, so wide receivers are good. Switching to probably interior offensive lineman. A blocking tight end would also be considered. Jackson Hawes if he's around. Oh, Diggs. Okay, hold on. I forgot about Diggs. Okay, yep. And then, yep. Baron Sorrell still around? Nope. I guess that was a smooth move. David Bailey's a good linebacker slash edge rusher that he could take. Let's take a look at D-line. Oh, wow, we got... Interesting. All right, let's take a look here. Clay Webb. Boom. I guess we could take Curtis Rourke as a quarterback. We also need some... Oh, Cody Simon. Boom. There's another... All right, so actually, let's think this out. Cody Simon... or Jackson Haas as a tight end. Or Willie Lampkin. Q Robinson too as an edge rusher. Oh, we got options here, guys. I think I'm gonna go with Cody Simon here. Or hold on, just one more. Sorry. Zeke Biggers maybe later on. Alright, so yeah, I wouldn't have to go after a pure edge. You know what? John Pius, that's another guy to keep an eye on. Ty French didn't have a great year this year, but definitely has Steve Linton. That's another guy who didn't have a great... Brian actually is pretty good too. So like, there's some guys that'll go UDFA. Johnny Walker's actually pretty good too. All right. Probably, well, I mean, if you did get rid of Milton, I would go Curtis Rourke here, but Cody Simon for the linebacker situation. Yeah, I'll just do that. Way too many picks anyways, but I probably would have, towards the end there, if someone was going to roll it over for like a 6th rounder next year, I would have probably done it. So I think this one, because it does kind of prove the point, which is, yeah, you could trade back a little bit, still in the top 10, and you get Will Campbell, but it gave you ability to get to Amika. I keep saying Amika, Emeka, or Ursary. You picked up that, and then we also were able to pick up a corner or a D tackle or something like that, an extra guy in there. All these guys would battle for, obviously some of them being true starters out of the box, but definitely would at least battle for it. Now here's the question would be, Ursary, I think, has the build and the like, his general profile is pretty agnostic. Like, he can play gap, zone, left. I think he can play some right. He's played left, I think, primarily, but... And the thing is, here's the crazy part. You would say, like Will Campbell with his arms is an issue, which I've said, like, it's probably gonna be right near that 33 mark, so he'll probably hit the threshold. But say Campbell has trouble, like, then you at least have, like, you'd have your left side would be 100% ready to go. Between Ursary, Campbell, and then he put Cole Strange at center. Jeez. And then when he went right, guard, and then you have to go out and get somebody to play right tackle. That's not bad. Let's try one more where we can maybe go back even further. If no one wants to offer it, we'll force it, right? I guess we'll offer a trade. One trade offer. You know, that... No, no, no. Who would we trade with? Green Bay? Chargers? Rams wouldn't be a bad one. Yeah, that's a great example. Let's use... Oh, they don't have a second. I need a second. Yeah. A third, and then probably next year's second and like a fourth. Well, whatever. Doesn't matter what we get next year. I don't want to do too much this year. Mason Graham's making it outside the top 10. Same thing with Tet. Kelvin Banks. It's absurd. No way. Alright, so what did they give us? Membo. Ooh, Jalen Walker. That is interesting. He's definitely high up on my list. Holy cow, get out of my way. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Walker. He's up there. He's definitely in that list of that 21 to 30. Ursary, thank you. Now it looks like wide receiver kind of got thinned out pretty quickly. But tackles are still strong, so I'm gonna sure up our left and right sides. And I think we just, I mean, this is almost home run just for that. All right, D-line. Shamar Turner again, aim for him at 77, if not Birch at 89, 87. 69 is going to give us what? A corner? Corners are emptied out. Gelati would be a good pick at 105 if he's still there. I like Darius Alexander. I'm just not that high on him. So maybe justify getting Fan in here. Or Higgins. Okay, let's do that. Still there. Makuba can play corner. Zy Alexander at 145 is not a bad look. Burke right now is not bad either. But I think Makuba... Yeah. Alright, Darius Alexander at 87 is a good look. But, you know what? I think I go with Birch because he can play DN and some D-tackle. Alright, next we gotta look at corner. Also need to think interesting. Demetrius Knight again is also on the table. Let's take a look at the corner sitch. Colt Knoll at 145. Then it gets pretty ugly. Luke Lachey at 219 if he makes it. So here, Ollie Gordon here is not bad either. Come on, hold off. Stay Noel, stay Noel. Yes! Great pickup. Alright, now we're looking for Luke. Or Terrace Ferguson. I could take him if he makes it. I doubt it, though. Uh-oh, I don't want Luke to go. Don't want Luke to go. Yeah, we're gonna miss him. Yep, damn. Alright, Jackson Hawes, maybe a little bit long. Or Bryson Nesbitt, we can do him as well. Alright. I like Khalil. Just the Boston connection is enough for me to... And he's a big back. Big dude. Hasn't played that many years actually in the position, so... I'm going to hold off on that one. Tight ends. Jackson Hawes for the blocking. Tyler Batty's a good edge guy to pick up too. Cody Simon, Cam Jackson. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to still keep going with Clay Webb. Because he can play center and guard. Yeah, I like it. It's not as great as I thought it would have been. But Jalen Walker at 23 is a steal, and then it enabled you to essentially get Cam. Ariante and Cam look, I mean, that would be left and right, you're ready to go. Higgins at wide receiver, Makuba, deep safety, also plays corner and in the slot. Jordan Birch plays some D tackle, so just in case Barmore's done, but he plays primarily at the edge position, so just in case Dietrich Wise is basically done. We're looking to move on from him. Demetrius Knight, I drafted, I did him in the previous mock, but take a look at him. I think just the ability to get from point A to point B and just be vicious. Overlooked because of, South Carolina's just got, their defense was just a terror this year. Noel Williams, underrated corner. Good ball hawk. So I guess the take home from these mocks, sticking at 4 would give a Patriots a shot at Abdul. Although it's unlikely that he'd actually be there considering who picks ahead of them. But they should still have a shot at Travis Hunter, Will Campbell, Tet McMillan, Kelvin Banks, Mason Graham, and even James Pierce. Or they could trade back within the top 10 and still have a shot at least one of those 7 players. And again, all of which are worthy of top 10 picks in this draft. And are positions of need, so it would make sense. But also these mocks showed us that you could get 1 or 2 from trading back, which should increase the Patriots' likelihood of adding even more impact players in that sweet spot of the draft that I've identified. Again, I would not trade out of the 4th pick if they were comfortable with what was on the board and they had a high conviction on a specific player and that's what they wanted. However, I do want to point out there's still a strong case from a numbers perspective to load up on as many picks in that 20 to 60 range as a second option. Anyway, what do you guys think of these mocks? Do you think the Patriots should just stick with the 4th no matter what? Try to trade back within the 10, or make the big jump back to like that 20 range and load up on 2nd and 3rd round picks? Or is there something else? Let me know in the comment section below. If you guys like this content, please like and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching.